Yeah, we're starting again. Sorry.
Playing hard, playing tough, just plain good is not good enough. We're gonna show you what league's all about. If there's a lesson to be learned, we're handing it out. This game is our game. This town is our town. Turn the heat up and listen to the crowd.
Good evening and welcome to the Joust. My name is Nagy. I'm here as always with my co-host Liam McNeil. Liam, how are you this evening?
Nagy, I'm delightful. I'm wonderful. I'm having a great day. Productive day today.
It seems like there might be something in the air, something more positive. I think it might be a couple of wins on the trot. That's two. That's 2 wins. And we have to celebrate all the 2 wins on the trot. Each individual win by themselves because
we love trotting.
we love trotting, we love winning, and we've done it twice in a row. And against, of all people, Manly at Brookvale, which we apparently, as we discussed last week, I thought it was a little while, but it had been decades plus.
I don't think we've ever won at Brookvale without Joey Johns.
Is that true?
I think so.
Let's go with it, all right? But now we have this new side, this brand spanking new side that we're so proud of. And we managed to get over. Can you remind me of the scores?
18-14. Nagy, what did you tip as a score?
No, I tipped 18-14. But I think it was 18.
You tipped 18-12.
No, it was the other way around.
Well, either way, you were very, very close.
So
well
close.
done, Nagy. Well done.
I was so close, and I never tip anything correctly. Scores, just winning in general, like, you know.
And nothing's changed. You still got it wrong.
Even when I'm driving, I can't even pick a lane that's going to be moving. If I go to that lane, it just stops. So it's amazing that I'm supporting this side that's winning, Liam.
Isn't it just gorgeous?
I'm pretty excited. Now, Liam, I have to ask you, obviously, very exciting game. What went right for you?
What went right? Look, a lot went right, obviously, in the win. We had great set starts from our back five. I mean, the work of Sean Kenny, Dow, Nathan Ross, Yonne, Ken Seo coming out of our, what do they call that area? Inside the 20, the red zone, Nagy.
Yeah,
they call it the red zone. We had a good time. Good work coming out of our red zone from our backs, who all ran for over 100 metres, as usual. Just as our stats today are brought to you by the Hebrew Hammer, Josh Spiegelman.
Josh Spiegelman, the Hebrew Hammer.
The Hebrew Hammer. So all our backs ran for over 100 metres. They're doing some really great work, getting us moving up the field, and it allows our forwards to do the work they need to do in that middle third and attacking third of the field. So well done to the backs. Our red zone defence, when we were defending on our own line, that was very strong. Besides the Sean Lane try, we just don't seem to know how to handle Sean Lane.
I know. But he's about 7 foot tall. He's a ginormous man.
Which I think therein lies the problem. So with Manly, when we're defending on the line, we sit back, we wait for them to come to us. With their smaller, more powerful, compact forwards, we just absorb. We absorb and we suck them in. But with Sean Lane, he's just so tall, he just kind of reaches over the top.
Yeah.
So it doesn't seem to work with him. But besides that soft try to Sean Lane, our goal line defence was very, very good. We only had 43% of the ball.
43? How can you win with that sorts of numbers?
Defence, Nagy.
Defence?
Defence wins matches. We've always kind of come away a bit in those close games. The defence didn't hold quite so well. But this time, it worked, Nagy. It just worked brilliantly, especially on our own goal line. It was heartwarming to see.
It was amazing to watch them have so many opportunities to really finish us off. They were ahead for a large portion of the game, and it looked like every time that they're inside our 20 and they had an attacking play, and it was like, oh, here we go again. You sort of just, especially after that soft try to Sean Lane, as we just discussed, it was like, how are they going to do this? And we just kept turning them away. It was fantastic.
It was amazing. And we did have to defend a lot. We made 379 tackles to their 317. Now that's 10 extra sets. That's a lot of defence. That's a lot of tiring work, taking the impacts of big, powerful Manly forwards. 10 minutes of it with Safidi in the bin. It was just a great defensive effort. However, we did still miss 42 tackles. So it was the good scrambling defence. It was that real gritty, I'm helping my mates, I'm getting back, I'm just doing it for the boys' defence. It really got us
in for each other. It was a real sort of
in for a penny, in for a pound,
a full pound, which
is pound,
which is 1/100th of it's 1 penny times 100.
Yes.
Yeah, sorry.
Which is a big divide.
I lost it as soon as we left that system back in 1968.
No, it's trouble. It was a pence. Pence is a cent.
Pence, I don't know.
But we also handled Martin to power well.
What's a threepence? No.
Threepence is 3 of a pence.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, and tuppence is 2.
Oh, thank you.
But then you've got a halfpenny, which is a half penny, so it's half of a cent.
Oh, Christ, you've lost me again.
It's just ludicrous. But we handled Marty Tapau well, especially. He did run a lot. He ran for 247 metres. But what we did with Marty Tapau is what we did in the first round. We let him come to us, and then we just set everyone on him, and he fights to get to the ground. He fights to get an offload away, and we forced a number of errors through him trying to fight his way through a tackle.
It was lucky that we played this Manly side. I think when we did, obviously they've hit some really shit form. I think we could clearly say, and so often we're playing these sides that that they receive a belting the week before. We have them at home, like at their home, and so we're away, and then they just think, all right, we're playing the Knights next week. We often historically play teams back into form, which I'm so glad we didn't this time, because they had a big home crowd there, or as much as Manly ever gets, which is
It was 5,500, Nagy.
5,500.
It was actually quite a small home crowd.
Well, they had, most of them were Manly supporters, whichever of them are left. They don't like coming in watching their side lose, and they did that because it was that close game. For me, what went right, it was just I was really happy with the effort of all the guys, but the fact that we kept them to 2 tries. There were some disallowed tries, but they were efforts. They were effort tries. Stopping Croker. It's not Jared Croker. It's the other one.
Jason Croker.
Jason Croker. No,
Lachlan Croker.
Lachlan Croker.
Jason Croker's son.
Yes, is it?
Or nephew.
Is it really?
Some relation.
Some relation. But it's like, obviously, he fumbled the ball over the line very early. And
then we broke his knee.
Yeah, and then we did. We broke his knee. And now that knee won't work again for the rest of the season.
Huh.
So they will remember us. They will remember us.
That's it. It was a good team effort, well brought together by the boys. Another great stat, which the Fox Sports commentators mentioned. The last time that Newcastle beat Manly after being behind at half-time was a very memorable game back in 1997. I'm talking about the grand final, Nagy. I'm talking about that grand final. 21 years on, we're still talking about it. That was the last time we came from behind at half-time to beat Manly.
And we've done it again.
And we've done it again.
And it was just as rememberable.
Rememberable, yes.
Yeah, just as rememberable. But Liam, I have to ask you, for a player that you thought did particularly well.
Look, for me, it's got to be the man so nice, they named him Herman. Herman Asare. He had a great game. He really led from the front. He's been one of our buys of the year. Herman ran for 18 runs for 178 metres, 63 of which were post-contact metres. He made 4 tackle busts, so caused some real trouble for the Manly defenders. 1 offload. Remember that was that 10L. I didn't know what it meant last night.
Yeah,
last week.
L's?
It was 1 OL.
Oh.
1 offload.
Okay.
So I made sure to specify that.
So he had
1 offload.
Another 10 Ls this week.
He had 10 more Ls,
10
but
more Ls.
only 1 OL.
1 OL.
And he made 39 tackles and only 2 misses. He tackled at 95.12% effectiveness. Great work from the big fella up the middle.
He has a lot of energy for a bloke up the middle, and we've said it before how he's a smaller forward, by today's standards of front rowers. But again, he's just one of those blokes who loves his hands on the ball. And so he the effort he puts in, and the energy in which he takes those runs, it's great to see.
And it's quality efforts and quality energies as well. He's really focusing his efforts and energies into things that are paying off, Nagy.
Yeah.
Who have you got for hats off, Nagy?
Hats off. Look, a lot of this week's we've named a certain player for hats off, and we have a certain sound that goes with that. But I believe it's time that we've tried to upgrade him, because there's just so many hats off this season already.
In fact, he played most of the game with his own hat off.
He did. He took his own hat off to his own performance, and that is the Pong with the updated sound. That's how excited we are about the Pong that we have to just keep playing that horn over and over and over again. Without Mitchell Pearce, I think Cogger had a solid game. Solid coming in for his second game of the season, but more importantly, he had to take a whole lot more responsibility. And I thought he looked good. He looked quick. He had lots of enthusiasm, and I think he did just enough. But where it came to those game-breaking moments, Ponga nearly getting over early on, and then to finish it off, putting the Rostock, one of the Joust favourites, the Rostock straight over. I thought it was funny he's so elusive with what he does that the commentators even called a cutout pass to Ross, even though Ross was the next player over.
It simply wasn't a cutout pass.
That's how good he is. He makes regular passes look like cutout passes.
Isn't that something?
I know, but to get over the paint and then 18-12. Can you believe it?
I can believe it because I saw it and it was amazing. But I'm glad you mentioned those game breaking moments, and this is the difference between the Pong.
Oh, sorry. This one, the Pong, and
the Pong. And other players who have these game-breaking moments is they're often referred to as, these players, their contribution doesn't feature on the stats sheet.
Yeah.
But the beautiful thing about Ponga is he's making these small plays that don't reflect on the stats sheet, but his stats are still remarkable. 129 metres run, 11 more tackle busts.
11.
Brusts. Busts.
He's got quite the brust on him.
He's a brusty fella.
He's a brusty fella. But he's 11 again. I think he's in the 60s now as far as tackle busts.
Actually, he was in the 60s last week. I think that'll put him at 78 tackle busts for the year across 8 rounds of rugby league. That's unbelievable.
Slippery fella.
And it's not because we see a lot of, big tackle busting players, your Tedescos and your Gagais. A lot of their tackle busts are made crabbing across the side of the field, trying to find that opportunity to hit a hole. His tackles are just made on kick returns, breaking through the line. He's just... every time he gets the ball and does something, when I'm watching the game, I turn to my missus and, there's tears in my eyes and I just say... We've signed him for 4 years. We have this player, this young bloke. He'll be playing for the Knights for 4 years minimum.
And
at very least.
There was I was chatting to someone online. I can't remember his name, but he was saying that he's such an important signing because he's playing so well. Not only is he complementing the side, but he's complementing the whole the attitude towards the team. Because now, if you're a young fella, like let's say you could probably say Ramian that we've signed from the Sharks. He's coming there not thinking, we've got to rebuild this side and be part of that. There might be wins to come, but he goes, I'm going to come here and play with Kalen Ponga. Which is amazing. We've never had that sort of draw since Johns. That it was always sort of, you're coming there and you're adding value to. But now young players are coming there thinking, I can play with an absolute superstar, which he is.
And Ramian, proving to be a superstar. He's playing unbelievably well at the Sharks. We have him next year. Potent.
I think it was
very potent.
I heard through the week that he's got a young daughter that lives in Newcastle. That he's coming back, and they almost released him on compassionate grounds, which was nice.
Oh, that would have been nice.
It's nice. Yeah, we're welcoming back into the his Newcastle family.
Welcome home, Jesse.
Yeah, we're very excited, but we should be very excited right now because of just obviously getting over Manly in Brookvale. Like we were $2.60. One of the first times in the last coming weeks we haven't been favourites. We were well outside. Most of the money in the market was going towards that. We were going to get 13 plus put on us, and just to keep it tight and to turn the tides. When we did, and a lot of the time with 12 men in those periods where we really had to defend for each other was amazing. Do you have any hats back on to anyone that you think didn't do as well?
I do. Now, the hats back on again, as we have been doing in recent weeks. The hats back on comes with a caveat. I put my hat back on to Sione purely for his defence.
Yeah.
Now, Sione, he actually was really effective in attack. He ran for, I think, 119 metres. Good hard runs out of our red zone. But 12 tackles he made, 8 tackles he missed. That's 60% effectiveness. When you're defending on the fringes there, we're lucky that the defenders around him were able to make up a lot of his missed tackles.
Yeah.
But he's just missing a lot of tackles. I haven't found him to readjust particularly well to the centre position.
Unfortunately, I've been critical of him in the centre position as well. Like I think he's such an important player to have on this side, and to keep him would be fantastic, even though he's off contract at the end of the year. But you got to think with Ramian coming back in the side, and Moga also hopefully coming back in the side with his.
And Ross playing very well in the centres. I know there's been some naysayers online, but I disagree with them. I think Ross has been very good in the centres. He shored up the defence. I have no concern now when the opposing team is running a wide play down Ross's edge, because he's just tackling really well, making the right defensive decisions. He's been great in defence, but I still worry on Sione's edge.
Yeah, look, it's definitely an area that we have to. We think defensively there's a little bit of a focus on it, and we are conceding tries on the fringes. But look, it's just a standout effort from all the boys. I think you can't. It'd be hard to fault them. I'm also going to go to Sione with my hats back on. But look, there's plenty of room to improve. And I don't mind giving your hats back on when we come away with the 2 points. 10 points. We've won 5 games, Liam.
Absolutely. Now, and we'll cover more on that later. But there was a few things that went wrong still in that game, Nagy. Obviously, to beat a woeful and just disgusting side like Manly by only 6 points, some things are going to go wrong. Our kicking game wasn't great. Now, the Cog, he kicked 12 times for 295 metres, but the kicks weren't of great quality. They were almost as if, we get to the end of the set, here, Manly have the ball back. They didn't allow our chasers enough time. The kick chase was very good, but they didn't have enough time to really get up and put pressure on the Manly defence, and it didn't force the Manly back three to make any tough decisions. It was either going straight to them or the ball was coming down 30 metres out where they don't play at it anyway. We get the ball back, still last, make the tackle.
Yeah, no, it's right. Like that's what we missed with Mitchell Pearce. Obviously, there was nothing to no one was ever suggesting that we take Mitchell Pearce out of this side. We still come away with the win, but it's obviously a very different playing side. And Mitchell Pearce has been kicking us out of trouble for the first 7 games that he played with us. There was times that we were right back, we weren't making those meters, and then a long kick, pushing to the sideline, either giving us a bit of a breather and working our way up so we're defending inside their 25, or, just a nice big attacking kick where they have to, in the in goal, up and turn around. And I think we became a little bit used to, how well that favoured our defence. And without it now, it's a different play that we're going to have to... And I still think that the kick chase was solid for kicks that weren't always there. I know Ag and Guerra caught and went down with one. And look, I tell you what I really like, and I think builds... even though it puts us back on the defence, but I still like attacking the ball, catching the ball, and going down with it on the 5th. I think there's nothing wrong with completing that set.
Absolutely. It's still, in the stats, you look at it, it counts as a completed set, but also it just means Manly are getting the ball back, yes, but they're getting the ball back where you want them to get the ball back. You're saying, look, I'm making you start from here, not we'll kick the ball to you and you can start where you want. You're starting from here because I deem it thus.
Yes.
Well, we, as the team, we deem it thus that you shall start here. And that is where you shall start.
Yeah, no, it was. I tell you what, it's a wishy-washy game as far as hit us with it.
Oh, sorry, another area of weakness, Nagy. Yeah. In behind the play the ball, our marker defence left a bit to be desired again. It was a bit loose. The markers and the A defenders either side of the ruck weren't locked in enough. It was kind of too much moving backwards, and Manly made some good yardage in behind the ruck, and that's something we're going to cover more in the lead up to the Souths game, because Souths have some players who are very dangerous in behind a ruck. Also, our line speed. Now, it harkened back to round 1 where we sat back on our heels, let the big Manly forwards come to us, and it works. While it works against Manly, against a more dynamic forward pack, I don't think it will. Like the Burgess boys, you don't want them getting a head of steam up next week. So I don't know if it was a deliberate ploy from Brownie to say this is how we defend against Manly. We saw it against the West Tigers. We were moving up quickly. We were shutting them down. It worked gorgeously. But this week against Manly, we're sitting back, letting them come to us. It led to the Sean Lane try. Whether or not that system will work against Souths remains to be seen.
Yeah, no, I have to agree with you, Liam. I think there is, it wasn't a perfect game, and the game was left in the balance. And I think, especially in that last 10 minutes, we got a lot of calls that went our way. We got the 50-50s, which was, as a side that we can say we're in form, as we discussed last week. There's only ever 8 forms, and you just trade them between the teams. Because we come off the win, we're in form, and Manly are famously out of form at the moment. And those 50-50s, the rugby league gods, peddling those puppets the way they do across, what do they call the crosses with the puppeteers?
Marionettes.
They got the rugby league guys with the marionettes, and and the sides that just aren't catching any breaks didn't catch any breaks then, and we didn't give Manly an opportunity to come back, but it was close. There was balls on the ground, and they happened to go our way.
Do you remember Punch and Judy?
You're gonna have to elaborate.
They weren't marionettes, but they were the two. They were a puppet couple. They used to do puppet shows around the world, and basically Judy would beat the hell out of Punch. It was male and female.
I didn't see that, but was that a while ago? Because it seems like something that probably wouldn't take off.
Oh,
these
it wouldn't
days.
fly today.
No,
it would not fly today. It was basically Domestic Abuse, the puppet show. But it entertained us kids wonderfully.
Like they showed the Moonlighters, was it? Like
yeah,
right in the kisser. Which is just about punching his wife.
Yeah, it's terrible.
Which is horrific.
We don't endorse it, the Joust.
No, we don't endorse the Joust, neither does the National Rugby League, because it's a horrible thing. But I think...
the National Rugby League seem to endorse it. They condone it.
Yeah, well, actually, there's quite a few players.
But only a little bit.
Well, even like punching the guy from the restaurant, as the Brisbane seems to be supporting it with that absolute... barge of a man, Matt Lodge, who would never pull his socks up either. But that's enough on Matt Lodge. Spoken enough about it. He's taken enough time from us, Liam.
He has. We won't let him steal any more of our time. He's a time thief.
We also had a bit of Skimmark Steve, classic, which he's done. He does a blunder, and then he makes up for it.
That's it. There's rocks in amongst the diamonds, but it's why everyone loves SKD. I'll never forget. I think it was 2 or 3 seasons ago. Phil Gould was commentating on a Roosters game. SKD made an absolute howler, and Gus just said, that's why we love him. And I was perplexed at the time. But having him on the team now, I understand.
Yeah.
He's going to do that. But you know what? He's going to work his backside off, and he's going to make up for it.
And he did. And it was with that the grubber kick back in after that we lost. Man. It was late in the game, and it was and after he dropped it, he made up for it, and he brought the ball back out of half, and it was mainly the defense of the rest of the team that really supported. But we didn't drop our heads. We were defending our asses off, 41% of the ball. We got pushed back on our own line. Skimmuck Steve drops it, moments out. I'm in the first tackle and play the ball. That's right. He puts it down.
It was a poor play the ball.
Poor play the ball, and they're cracking down on the play the balls. Puts it down, kicks it forward, and you can see it in his face. But I tell you what, the team rallied and managed to hold them out.
And when you have a player like SKD who will make those mistakes but works so hard to make up for them, the rest of the team will play for him. They'll say, "Look, we understand that you're gonna fluff around a little bit, but you do so much good elsewhere. We're going to back you on this," and we love him for it.
As our good friend Stephen Crow said when he was here, you're going to be the player that other players want to play with, and he does that half of the time. So
I'd say at the moment it's closer to 3/4, 1/4.
That's
3/4 great work, 1/4 little things.
And we'll take you. We'll take you, SKD. Thank you.
Also to mention was the form of Slade Griffin. He's been one of the buys of the season.
Yeah, I gotta say, it was probably unfortunate not to get my hats off this week because he's just there's Origin talk, there's Origin floating around, right? And he's just, he should be mentioned because every other time that we have a player in a great position that's playing really well, that it's like, well, he's playing really well, but he's playing for a losing side. But Slade Griffin is playing really well for a winning side.
Well, I did see a rumor spring up on the internet that he's actually New Zealand eligible.
Is he really?
Apparently.
Wouldn't that just be the biggest fuck you to Danny Levi that he's like, I'm not only going to take your team spot, I'm going to cross the pond and I'm going to take your New Zealand spot as well.
Now that was only a rumor I saw in the comments section on the internet.
Well, I was just happy to find out that he wasn't a Queenslander.
Yes, that's nice. That's a great feeling. But he was phenomenal. He's leading the team in effort areas. His kick chase is remarkable. He's introduced a running game now that Pierce is out and we can't rely on his big kicks. Slade ran really well. I think it was 7 runs for 66 metres, sniping out a dummy half, scoring that great try.
The try, which turned to be the winning try in the end.
He's taking the load off the halves, which is just amazing.
Yeah, and he also put in a couple of kicks, I think, as well.
He did, yeah. He's starting to take that kicking role as well. He's been a phenomenal signing.
He's been a phenomenal. He really has. I'm really happy to have him as part of the Knights family, which we all are here.
Lovely family.
If you wear the red and blue, you're part of that. A dysfunctional family.
The wet and blue.
The wet and blue. I can't say red. We'll be right back for the second half of the Joust.
I thought you said I can't say red and then said it perfectly. So then you nearly smashed the mug.
Enough of that, please. Welcome back to the second half of the Joust. Now, Jousters, we have a bit of a call to arms. If you really enjoy watching the Joust, please jump on our YouTube channel, The Joust, and all you have to do is take your mouse clicker and just follow it around and click that subscribe button. Just right there. Just click it.
And even if you don't like the Joust, please do it.
Just do it anyway. That's what we're asking. Please help us out. But also, YouTube's a wonderful platform, Liam. You can watch the videos when you want to watch them at your leisure. So
at your leisure, anything you want to watch, barring obvious copyright infringement.
Obvious, yeah, but you can watch, whether you're lining up to the bank or you're at the bus stop, or even if you're at the Commonwealth Hotel.
It's a wonderful venue,
isn't it? Just I tell you what, where we'll be later tonight is enjoying the Commonwealth Hotel Moorish Mondays, where it's we enjoyed this last week, Liam. It was 3 courses, right? Which you don't know which courses you're going to get. It's like a surprise. It's like this sort of degustation of food, and it was
degustation. By the way, is our word of the week.
Degustation.
Well,
thank you very much for the degustation. But no, it's a wonderful thing because you go there and you order. How much was it? I think it was $30, and you
$29.
$29,
GST included.
GST included, and you get bread, and then you get an entree, and then you get a main, and then you get dessert, and it was all just splendid. And I think we're going to do it again tonight.
I think we will, Nagy. I think we will.
With the Commonwealth Hotel, Monday nights.
Great pub.
Moorish Mondays. It is a great pub. Now, Liam, something else happened in this Manly game which I think we need to address.
We did. Now, what we saw in this Manly game, and it was addressed in the sack later on, so we will be getting to your questions, don't you worry. The eye gouge. Now, the eye gouge we had from Dale Cherry Evans, popped his cherry, and put it on Bura. Have we got the video of that, Ellie? Can we bring that up?
Ellie, can you bring this up? Now, so it was, the game was won. The game was already won. They've just had a player bend. It was the last run of the game, and Jamie Bura runs it up. He gets tackled, and as the clock's ticking down, DCE decides to stick his digit in an orifice. Now, I thought this was done and dusted with Manly after 2009 scandal with Brett Stewart, but they've decided to continue to. You see them come up there, and they're chatting, and I hear that they're good mates, but you got to ask. Why? Why would you do that?
Because he's a dickhead.
He's a dickhead.
It was a classic dickhead maneuver made by a classic dickhead and just behaving in the manner that we would expect a dickhead to behave in. It was rude. It was uncouth. It was uncalled for.
Yeah.
What kind of prank is that? Eye gouge your mate. We don't have a national day for that. You don't eye gouge your mates.
I know the kind of player that will do this, and it's the hyper-competitive player the DCE seems to present himself in. And if they had won that game, if the clock was ticking down and Manly had already won, he doesn't eye gouge someone. He eye gouges because he's lost. And this is this typical, that hyper-competitive that you just feel like, I've got to get something back. And he's targeted a player that he's played, 100 games with, and they're supposedly mates. But it's like, why do it? Why do it? Because it's a bloody dickhead move.
Dickhead move, I agree. He's the kind of person who got everything he wanted as a child. No one ever said no to him.
Well, that's the thing. He's played his career as this player that's always been, grand finals and always around the rep selection. And he's always just been told, you're the best. And that $10 million contract is just, put icing sugar on that bloody cake of his.
It is. They didn't even make it into the icing. They just dumped sugar on it.
That dog shit cake of his.
Terrible cake.
Terrible cake.
But next week, Nagy, we will move on because it
Yes.
hurt us. I feel like all our eyes felt that gouge. Every eye in Newcastle felt that gouge.
Yes, especially from Bureau. What a lovely bloke.
It was the gouge that stopped the nation.
It was. And he got free from it.
Oh, yes, we forgot this. So
Yeah.
there was insufficient evidence, according to the match review committee, and he was said, well, you're all right then.
Apparently, several cameras showing a man's finger entering a man's face is not enough to say that something went on. A bit amiss there.
That's it, and the world thinks the OJ trial got it wrong. I think this one, the NRL match review committee, may have gotten a worse one.
They should have a good hard look at themselves with their two perfectly working eyes.
They should, which Bureau may not have.
Maybe they should stick a couple of fingers. I'm getting too excited. And Liam. Sorry, where are we going? South
Next week.
Back at the graveyard.
Back at the graveyard again. We do love this graveyard shift. We do get big turnouts. Now, as usual, it's at home, the graveyard. We've averaged about 22,500 across the graveyard shift this year. So no reason we can't do it again against Souths.
I think we'll do more. We're coming off 2 wins.
We're buoyant.
We've been starved of home games. Five games we won this year, and we've had 6 away. And we've won 3 of them, which I think coming into this season, I don't think anyone could have looked at the draw and think, this is guaranteed going to be an easy run. We've battled uphill, and now we're coming into a period where we have a lot more home games. It's almost like a 2-1 over the next 8 weeks. Walk us through South.
So Souths are an interesting prospect. They started the year looking very average. I didn't know what to make of them. They just weren't working. But the last few rounds, they've clicked. Everything they were trying in the first few rounds is now coming together. It's paying off. And they're actually proving a very dangerous side. They beat the Roosters recently. They beat someone else last week. I don't know who, but it was someone who they beat. And they're actually proving to be a very dangerous prospect of a team. Now, as usual, we've got some stats here from very own Josh Spiegelman.
The Hebrew Hammer.
Now, we're lucky that Sam Burgess is out. Fresh off a 2-week suspension, he came back, knocked Aiden Caesar's head clean off his body, and was suspended promptly again for 2 games.
2 weeks, which was a light suspension. I thought.
And
he's a what do they call it? Someone that defends often, an often defender.
An often defender. Now, there's been comparisons raised to Adrian Morley, and the numbers make for some interesting reading. I think Morley had 11 suspensions for 27 weeks out of the game. Burgess has had 12. But for less weeks, I think.
It's because he's the golden boy.
He's the golden boy.
Morley was just the thug, but Sam Burgess has, rugby league likes to look at Sam Burgess as
a good fella.
Because he came back. He came back from rugby union after his terrible attempt at rugby union in the World Cup for England.
Which you'd argue that was more based around England's strategy. He could have been quite good.
Well, he could have been, but he wasn't.
But they're going to miss Sam Burgess. He's their top meter eater for the team. He averages 138 metres per week, 2.6 offloads per match. That's a lot to make up for the other forwards around him. Now, Angus Crichton with 129 metres and Sam Thomas Burgess, the other one, were they topped the team last week for metres. They're starting to throw together some good form. The Burgess brothers seem to have remembered how to catch the ball.
Yeah.
So they're actually offering up some very dangerous
Dangerous.
running. Crichton hasn't yet hit the form he hit last year, where he was, almost shooing for Rookie of the Year.
He might have been. He's hitting about 9.5% of the form that he was in. It's a finger joke. It's a he covered his fingers off. Yeah,
Because he cut his finger off to
off.
play footy, which I love, by the way.
Yeah.
For a bloke to have a finger injury plaguing him, I'm just going to lop it off.
cut it off.
I want to, he plays for South, so I want to hate him, but I love Angus Crichton. He's
Because he
great.
played for South, I wish it was a foot injury.
Why?
Because he wouldn't be able to play.
If he cut off his foot.
Yeah.
But then he wouldn't be able to play, so he wouldn't have cut off the foot.
Yeah, he might be good for New South Wales. Continue.
He will be good for New South Wales. Now, what we need to do, that the Hammers pointed out, we need to keep an intact line when Dane sideways Gagai runs. He made 5 tackle busts last round, and he's breaking tackles at 3.5 per game. But as we know from Gagai, it's that staggered line in defence is where he busts tackles. And this is something we were particularly strong with against the Tigers. When there was offloads, when there was broken field play, we kept our line.
Yeah.
And it's those kinds of defensive lines that Mr. Gagai is not going to exploit.
Yeah, he's Mr. Gagai. He was Gags but when he was playing for Newcastle.
He's Mr. Gagai
He's Mr.
now.
Gagai. Hopefully he misses a few tackles.
That would be nice.
Yeah.
But the real danger man we need to look after is Damien Cook. He's been in remarkable form for them.
Hasn't he ever?
He has, and he's going to target an area which we discussed earlier. The Knights have been a bit weak around in the markers, in behind the defence, in behind the ruck there in defence. We really need to tighten it up. He's been 3.3 tackle busts per game. He's tackling an 89% effectiveness rate, which is very good because one of the things that has come up around his form pre-origin was that his defence isn't great, but he seems to be defending a lot better than people give him credit for. He makes 12 metres a run, so his runs are very effective. They're eating up a lot of yards, getting Souths on the front foot, and he's catching teams on their back foot. So while Souths are on the front foot, the other team is on the back foot.
I hear he's a
because you
bit-
can't have two teams on the front foot.
It makes no sense.
Actually, you probably could.
I heard that he's actually has a bit of a history as like a surf life-saving background, running on sand. Is this
I believe he was the national champion for beach running.
beach running, which is amazing that they have.
It's very hard. I did nippers as a kid, and I was a bit of a flags and beach sprint specialist.
Yeah,
And it's tough.
it's
It
tough.
ain't easy.
No, because the sand moves.
You can't get good purchase under your feet.
Good word.
You can't get. Thank you.
They might be word of the week next week. Purchase.
Oh, hopefully. But there's a few men to target now in this Souths team. Gags and Reynolds out defending there on the edges. In defence, they're only made 77% and 80% tackle effectiveness last week. They missed 5 each, and that's their average across the season. Tackling around 75-80%, missing 5 per game.
Yeah.
We need to run traffic at them. We need to send the big fellas at them. We've got big fellas.
We've got lots of
Send them at him. And Adam Reynolds, he gives away 1.8 penalties per game. That's a team high. So if we frustrate him, we get him going
I was
through the
wondering where
game.
your voice was going. It's sort of like you're nodding off.
I thought I had that covered, but
Yeah.
it just snuck up on me.
Apologies, Justice.
Apologies, Justice. And yeah, he's averaging 1.8 penalties per game. So if we can get him frustrated, get him tangled up in the play the ball with some good hard running, could force a few penalties out of them. Where do you see this Souths game, though? I just don't know what to think, given the way Souths have and have not been this year.
I said a few weeks ago, talking about the South game, and I said the South always put a big total on us, and I was reminded by a jouster out there, and the name escapes me, but thank you for reminding me that last year we nearly had them. I think it was only one try in it. I think it was
us.
18-24, I believe, and that's also when we got Hodkinson binned, if you remember that game. But
We were at that game, Nagy.
there was plenty of grit. Were we? No,
We were.
no, I was in Adelaide.
Elliot, our producer, and I were at that
yeah,
game.
that's right. The other.
I remember the booing and the bullshit call when Hodkinson sent off. You could hear it in Curry.
Yeah. Hopefully we have that same
I'd
sort
scrub that from my memory, actually.
Yeah, we scrubbed me there. You've scrubbed me in,
Well, I just assume you're with me wherever I go.
talking to me in the car.
Yeah.
But yeah, like, it's going to be an interesting game. I think it's real. Sort of, we've got over Manly. Manly was out of form. Souths are in form. There no Burgess, but I really think this is a real sort of check for us to see, are we going to be that side that really chalks up these wins while Pearce isn't there? With Pearce inside, we're a different team. So, can we do it without Mitchell Pearce? At home, we're so far, I was going to say winless. I'm so used to saying winless. We're lossless. Lossless at home. Undefeated in the castle.
Quite the opposite of winless, in
Quite
fact.
the opposite, yeah. 2 from 2 against Brisbane and Manly. So it's going to be interesting to see. Can we do it again?
Yes,
Can we
absolutely.
Can we reward our fans?
Yes.
Fingers crossed. What do you think? Score prediction, Lee?
I'm thinking it's going to be a tight one, though. I'm thinking Knights 22-18.
Knights 22-18?
Yes.
I think it's going to be a little bit more points in there. I'm going to... don't crucify me, Justice, but I'm going to tip South. I think it's going to be 30 points to 20 to South.
Perfectly reasonable, Nagy. And a well-measured point, and we shan't judge you for it.
No, I just think Johnson's going to... Alex Johnson, I think, is going to have a blinder. Adam Reynolds on that side, he's very good. John Sutton's finding some weird form at the age of 40.
Isn't it strange to see John Sutton playing well?
I know. He's 5'8" for so long, and now he's just this big back rower.
It's bizarre. But yeah, no, Alex Johnson, he's another danger man. He always had that kind of winger playing at fullback style where he would run quickly, he'd return the ball well, but couldn't really do anything else.
Yeah.
But now he's starting to save tries, he's starting to ball play. He's turning into a very good fullback, which I hadn't expected from him. I always thought he was forever, destined to be the winger in the fullback position.
Yeah.
But he's actually turning into a very good all-round fullback. So he's going to be dangerous. So that will really need to have a kicking game on song.
Yeah. Fingers crossed I'm wrong, and fingers crossed that you are correct, as often is. But Liam, do you have the time?
I do, Nagy. Time for the news.
Now, Liam, we have a very special award that we've uncovered here, and I'd like you to bring it in, Liam. Thank you very much.
We do. We've dusted off the old trophy cabinet. It's been empty. It's been sitting pretty poorly for a while, pretty bare. But what we would like to reintroduce into the world is the Jamie Buhrer Award for the bloke who got hit the hardest through the week. Now, Elliot, if we could get the video on the go, our first winner of the Jamie Buhrer Award is young Jeremy Marshall King.
Yeah.
Jeremy Marshall King, ladies and gentlemen, from the Bulldogs, younger brother of Benjamin Marshall, of course, Tiger stalwart.
And he came up and whooshka. You just don't... Put him clean on his back. Feet left the air. But I got to say, there was such a notable hit, but as part of the Jamie Buhrer Award is that you get knocked down, but you get up again.
And they're never going to keep you down.
It's just like that song.
By Chumbles Wumbles.
Come fly with me. Through the air as you get hit off your feet.
Which Jeremy Marshall King did. He flew quite through the air.
No, but I think that's very well for David Ware? David Ware.
Dean Ware.
Dean Ware.
Dean Faray.
Dean Faray, yeah. So he is the first winner of the Jamie Buhrer Award. Well done.
And a great award, and I think, Dean Faray didn't win it. Jeremy Marshall King won it, because he was the one getting hit.
Well, who was it talking about? Dean Ware? No, what's his name?
Dean Ware.
Dean Ware.
He was the hitter.
Who was the other guy?
The award goes to Jeremy Marshall King, who was hit.
Oh, that's how the award works.
That's how the award works.
We're learning every day here, Justice.
Every day, Jousters, we learn. And it's a great attitude to have in life. Always be learning. But there was more news this week. Obviously, our second game against Trent Barrett, the slap.
The slap, which also brings up another interesting video. And Elliot, if you can bring this up for us. It's such a beautiful time, wasn't it? Just, I tell you what, when a coach could take the captain of the side, pull them all in, and just give the captain a good old slapping. As you know, we sort of did to Lance Thompson. Doesn't he look awful?
He always looked awful.
That's true. He never looked any
better. It was
better.
also great to see Brownie with hair.
Yeah, well, he pulled it all out, obviously, which was a nice preemptive move by him when we got signed by the Knights, that he decided, well, I'm not going to need any of this because I'm just going to be in the coach's box, removing it follicle by follicle.
But look, I think it was a real power move from Brown.
Yeah.
Obviously back there, and I think it was 99, 2000?
I think
around that time, clearly he had some ideas about coaching long term, and for him to isolate Trent Barrett and say, you are going to be someone I'm going to be coaching against in the future, have a bunch of fives.
Yeah.
I think that was a really smart move from Brownie.
It puts him down on that. It puts himself on a pedestal for him to look up and say, I'm the slapper, and you're going to be the slappee.
That's it. But isn't it a masterstroke? Planned it 10 years in advance, maybe 15.
Yeah. He's a forward thinker, Brownie. It took us a few rounds, a few years to get this side together, but he was already thinking. He's like, I'm going to be a coach, and you're going to be a coach, and you're going to be my bitch.
I think that's it. He slapped Trent Barrett and said, mate, you just wait. I heard a kid called Kalen Pong was born last month.
Yeah. Yeah.
He's going to give you nightmares.
He's giving a lot of team nightmares. And I think that also, as a new award as well, we like to give that's slapping Trent Barrett in the face and also slapping him figuratively twice in one season gets 3.5 smiling brownies.
Happy brownies For Brownie.
For Brownie, yeah.
Smiling brownies for Brownie.
Smiling brownies for Brownie.
Now, what we did forget to mention, we are going by that rating system as well. We have a rating for Daily Cherry Evans. Now, we have decided that Daily gets 3.5 frowning brownies.
Yeah.
3.5 frowning brownies for Daily Cherry Evans.
For the old finger in the eye, gets the frowning brownies, and for the slap in the face of Trent Barrett, gets 3.5 smiling brownies.
Happy Browns.
Happy Browns, sad Browns. Now, Liam, I think it's about that time we open your sack. Whew. Jesus.
That's it. It's sack time. It's open. It's out there. It's breathing. Now, from the sack, Ryan Tyler, first of all. Did KP, Kalen Ponga, of course, play too many games to be considered a rookie this year? If not, is he a shoo-in for Rookie of the Year?
I looked into this, Liam, and I've got quite a solid grasp of it now. That he would have look if he debuted last year, he would have been Rookie of the Year. In contention for. But because he debuted the year before, would make that last year he would have been eligible for this award. Making this year now he's played in the NRL on paper 3 years in a row. This is his third year. Ineligible. But I don't think this bothers him too much because he's leading the Dally M board now after 8 rounds.
A much better award.
Much better. Some would say it's far superior. So he can't win the Rookie of the Year. According to the current rules.
Actually, he could have if he had played less than 3 games or less last year. But he played 9.
He played 9 last year.
See, that's just rude. Paul Green being a bastard.
He was a bastard. And now, look, if anything, the Cowboys need someone like I don't know, who can spark their side? Maybe a Kalen Ponga?
Oh!
He's ours, but we got him.
Nice, Nagy. For 4 years,
4
Nagy.
years.
We have got Kalen Ponga for 4 years. Isn't it amazing?
It is. Another question.
Anyway, sorry, Ryan. He can't win Rookie of the Year. But we would love if he could. Now, next question. Dear friend of the show, Kelly Wilson asks a task of us. List your 3 best Knights players in the first third of the year and why?
Well, nice retrospective because it was obviously a third of the season is now gone. We're in a position that we think we can enjoy being reflective now. So let's go through it. For me, it would have to obviously be the Pong.
Who?
With enough of the horns, people listen to this right in their ears. But yeah, you know the sound like the. So it's got to be Kalen Ponga. Look, Mitchell Pearce has has impressed me out of sight, and even though he's injured now, the last 8 games, he has to be in that. So it's Ponga, Pearce, and for me, Lockie Fitz, just continuing his form just endlessly from last season and proving that he's not only a part of this first grade side, but he's a starting integral part of this first grade side. I'm going to throw it back to you, Liam. Have you got 3 that you want to mention?
I agree, but I have 3 more, Nagy. Isn't it great to be in a position where you've listed 3 great players who have had a great first third of the season, and I'm going to do 3 more atop those 3.
Top me off.
I'm going to top you off, Nagy. First of all, Slade Griffin.
Perfect, yeah.
Brilliant signing. When he came up from Melbourne, I was like, well, who's this bloke? He's a reserve hooker in Melbourne.
He's got a great name, but is he a great player?
That's all I knew about him.
Yeah.
I thought he would kind of be a bit of a budget bureau. But what he has proven is that he's a hard worker. He works well. He fits brilliantly into the team. I think, obviously, we're going to look back at Mitchell Pearce and Kalen Ponga as 2 of the greatest signings in the history of the club. But without the work of Slade Griffin in the middle there, we don't win a lot of those games. It falls to pieces. So for me, Slade Griffin has been one of the best. Our dear friend of the show, Herman SSA.
So nice, they named him Herman.
They did. And as any good man named Herman would do, he has just delivered in spades. He came to the club with good promise. We thought, he's going to be a great front rower, and he's been a great front rower and a great lock on top of that.
He does
he's value added.
Both roles.
Both roles. And also for me, SKD.
SKD?
I love Skidsy. I mean, it's like we discussed earlier. He's rocks or diamonds, but usually getting more the good one? More diamonds. More diamonds out of him, and they're good diamonds, and they're the big, like the really good big conflict diamonds.
Yeah.
Like, the ones that everyone wants, but no one's allowed to have.
People die for them,
Yeah, because of the crimes.
The crimes.
Yeah, so we're getting really good, large conflict diamonds out of Skidsy.
Yeah.
But then the old rock in amongst there, but the experience he brought towards the back end of last year was brilliant.
He came at a really tough time for us, and I totally agree. And you also have Ed and Clara in the amongst there too.
Well, that's it. The players, it's indicative of the side and what Brownie's doing. That we're now having to leave players out of our best 6 players so far this year.
Crazy.
It's crazy. It's a strange time to be a Knights fan, but it's wonderful. Now, Andrew Lauder asks, was DCE's the most shocking finger poke in a delicate area seen at Manly since Brett Stewart?
I think, yeah.
Which we touched upon earlier.
We touched upon earlier. Thank you for your question. And I'll tell you what, it was... look, it's something that both things we don't want to see in the game, and both things have been recorded. So
now I think you'll
but only
find,
one punished. So
well, I think you'll find that the term used for Brett Stewart's indiscretion wasn't finger poke; it was digital penetration.
yes,
So I think we've really got to use that. It's DC digitally penetrated
traded his face.
his face. But also, actually, we got to remember that Brett Stewart was found not guilty. It was all a pack
of course,
of
it
lies.
was. Sorry, that's right. I forgot that he was
But
found
he
not
missed
guilty.
a whole year of it because of a pack of lies.
So both things went unpunished.
They did.
So there you go. Like, apparently Manly players are just willing to
They'll put their fingers anywhere.
in anything.
John Hopperwhite played for Manly too. So I forgot about that.
Look at that. Look at. I'll tell you what. They talk about their culture all the time.
Yeah.
Now, Liam.
Fingered culture. No, that's rude. Sorry. But one last question. Brent Taylor, thank you for your question. Brent, which current Knights player would you have organise your birthday party?
Oh, this is such a good question. I didn't know.
a great
I
question.
wasn't aware of this one. Look, current Knights player. Look, I'm sure the Rostock could throw a hell of a party. Being the real, he's sort of the one you want coming to the party, because I'm sure he would throw. I don't know. Who would you, Liam? I'm going to throw it back to you.
Well, look, I think if it comes to planning a party,
What kind of party is it? Is it a birthday? Is it a barbecue? I think Aiden Guerra could put on a really nice barbecue, maybe with some sort of Italian sort of flair. Maybe some have the pasta on the boil. Maybe have his nonna in there. Just
that'd be nice. So catering, I think we'd cover. Well, look, let's split it into separate groups. So catering, I think you have, Aiden Guerra.
Yeah.
Clearly, he's got an Italian background. The bloke could probably cook.
Yeah.
And if not, he has an army of tiny women who are the generation before him who could definitely cook.
Definitely cook.
Now, what about entertainment?
Well, you got to have the Ross dog. I'm sure he's up there. He's an entertaining fella. He's always got something on his mind to say. So I think we've got to have Rossi there. Maybe entertainment. Maybe on the mic. Maybe a bit of a dance. I'm sure he's a dancer.
Oh, we've seen him dance on the red carpet of the Dally M's. He danced, and oh boy, did he dance!
We're kind of like Kalen. Kalen will probably have to go home around 7:30 because he needs his
curfew.
Curfew. He needs his sleep. He can't
Got to be home.
He can't be. And look, I tell you,
what else happens at parties? What else needs planning?
I don't know, but I think I want SKD there because I think he knows the right kind of people.
He does. He has his connections.
So there we got SKD, Guerra, and the Ross dog behind the mic.
We'll call SKD the social lubricator.
Yeah.
Although he never did the drugs.
No.
He was holding them for Paul Carter.
He was just holding them
As a hair follicle sample proved he did not do the drugs.
innocent. If anything, we've realised that all these players are there's just accusations going around, and they're all innocent.
It is. NRL players are hard done by, I think.
I think so. I think we've tarred them all with the same brush, or the brush that they were tarred with initially. We've brought the brush back into our hands.
But they initially did most of the tarring.
We've offended so many people this episode, and it's lovely because you choose to watch this. So
We have a podcast. We can say what we
say
want.
what we like until we get taken down. Which is probably next week. This could be the.
Who's going to take us down? Malcolm Turnbull?
This could be.
Do your worst, Malcolm.
This could be the finale of the Joust. Is that the end of the sack?
That's the end of the set.
Thank you. Zip it up.
Zip it back up.
I won't hit the zipper. Now, keep it out there in the breeze. Thank you very much for joining me, Liam. We'll be back same time next week, as we love to do. But if you like to watch us in the meantime, maybe look at us on YouTube, the subscribe button, and Facebook. Obviously, we love being on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Contact us any way you can. If you get one of our phone numbers, give us a call. We always love to have a chat.
Also, if you find my address, send me a letter. I haven't received a good letter in a while.
Yeah, that'd be nice.
Snail mail.
Those stamps are $1.
What?
Yeah,
Stamps gone up to $1.
$1.
Stamps are legal currency. If you get onto a bus and you give a bus driver a stamp,
You can get really
you'd
far.
have to accept that.
Holy, you can go quite far with it these days. $1. Let's happen again. All right, Liam, thank you very much. We'll see you next week. It's been an absolute pleasure.
Come fly with me, let's fly away. If you can use some exotic blues, there's a bar in far Bombay. Come fly with me.